The Discipline Secret for Unshakable High Performance and Leadership, The Lonely Emperor and the Power of Self-Mastery. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this: the most powerful man in the world, someone who commanded legions, whose decisions shaped the fate of millions, living in a level of opulence few of us can even picture. What do you think went through the mind of such a man, in the silence of the night? I found the answer during one of our most valuable expeditions, hidden inside an artifact that is both a treasure and a mirror to the human soul: the personal journal of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. Known as Meditations, this book was never meant to be published. It was written for mental survival, and within it lies the greatest secret to high performance I have ever uncovered. We live in an era that glorifies power and outward influence. We strive to control the world, yet rarely pause to master ourselves. What most people don't realize is that Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, was also a servant. He served Rome, his people, his duties, and above all, he served his own discipline. In his journal, there are no grand speeches about power or glory. Instead, we find a man wrestling with the same demons that haunt us: anger, fear, uncertainty, the craving for validation. He reminded himself that the only thing he truly controlled was his own mindset. The strength of his leadership did not come from the might of his legions, but from the strength of his character. And that strength was forged in the internal battles he fought with one essential tool: Stoicism. Meditations is a manual of self-knowledge written on the front lines of an empire at war. It is the voice of a man reminding himself of his principles, his resilience, and his humanity. He was not chasing external success, he already had it. What he sought was internal victory, peace of mind, virtue, wisdom. And your own journey toward high performance should start with that same pursuit. It doesn't matter how high your position is, or how great your achievements are, if your peace of mind is in ruins. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true leadership begins with self-mastery. He invites us to understand that we are, at our core, what we think. And if you don't control your thoughts, you control nothing. It is fascinating how one of history's most powerful men felt so small and fragile in the face of the universe, and how that humility became the source of his strength. He wrote to himself, reminding himself that any day could be his last. Not to live in fear, but to live with purpose. To be just, to be wise, to be grateful. Your practical action for the stage of our journey is to take a first step toward self-awareness. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if today were my last day, what would I do differently? What kind of person would I be? Don't rush to answer, just feel the urgency, the clarity that this question brings. That is the first page of your own meditations. If this vision of leadership resonates with you, and you are ready to unlock the secrets of Stoicism for your own life, comment Stoic Leadership below. If the full video made you reflect, like it and subscribe to the channel, so you won't miss the next dive into this expedition. Building your unshakable mental fortress. If your first act of self-awareness was to ask yourself about your last day, then you've already started building your mental fortress. What most people don't understand is that high performance is not a constant assault on the external world, it is an unshakable defense of your inner world. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, faced enemies on every front: barbarian nations, traitors within his own court, and plagues that ravaged Rome. But his true war was fought in silence, within the pages of his journal. He wrote not to record events, but to prepare for them, to remind himself of his values, his resilience, and the fact that the only thing that truly mattered was his response to events, not the events themselves. Stoicism was that mental fortress. In our journey as archaeologists, we see this fortress as Marcus Aurelius's greatest legacy, more enduring than any monument of stone. And the discipline to build it is available to every one of us. We live in a world that trains us to react. A news headline, an email, a comment on social media, and suddenly, our mindset is hijacked. Stoicism invites us to become the gatekeepers of our own minds, to decide what comes in and what stays out. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it, and you have the power to erase that judgment right now. What a liberating truth! He knew that the secret to his leadership was not total control, but control over his own mind. Think about your day. How many times have you been swept away by anger, envy, or frustration over something completely outside your control? The high performance of a Stoic was not the absence of these emotions, but the ability to observe them, acknowledge them, and refuse to let them dictate behavior. That is true freedom. It is the power to choose your response. It is the ability to be the emperor of your own mind. This skill, this discipline, was exercised by Marcus Aurelius every single day through his journal. He used writing as a tool to analyze his fears, to practice gratitude, and to prepare for the hardships of the next day. Your practical action for the stage is to start building your own mental fortress. It's not something built overnight, it requires consistency. Take a notebook and begin writing your own meditations. Just 5 minutes a day, either in the morning or at night, is enough. Write about an event that threw you off balance. Analyze what truly upset you. Was it the event itself, or your interpretation of it? Practice gratitude for what you have. Remember your mortality. The self-awareness you will develop through this process is the foundation for unshakable leadership, a fortress that shields you from everything beyond your control. And that is how you become invincible. Our journey is only beginning to reveal its true power. We're just scratching the surface of what Stoicism can do for you. If the idea of building your mental fortress resonates with you, comment "fortress" below. If the full video made you reflect, like it and subscribe so you won't miss the next step in our expedition. The journal as a blueprint for transformational leadership. If you've started writing your own meditations, you already know the power of self-awareness as a foundation. But leadership, true high performance, is not an act of isolation. It's an act of engagement with the world. Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher, but his philosophy made him a better emperor, not a recluse. He used Stoicism to prepare himself for external challenges. In his journal, he wrote about the discipline needed to deal with difficult people, with ingratitude, with the envy of his own generals. The mental fortress he built in silence is what allowed him to make rational decisions in the midst of war and politics. His high performance was evident not only in his personal success, but in his ability to positively impact the world around him. Most of us confuse leadership with charisma or the ability to give orders. But Marcus Aurelius's Stoic leadership was about service and example. He reminded himself, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This was a revolutionary mindset for his time. Instead of reacting with anger or vengeance, he used reason to lead with justice, even in the worst circumstances. Think about modern leaders today. The ones who achieve the most lasting high performance are not those who shout the loudest, but those who maintain calm and clarity in the heat of battle, because they've already fought that mental war in their journals. They've used introspection as a leadership manual. Marcus Aurelius's journal was not merely a space to vent, it was a plan of action. He didn't write just to feel better. He wrote to become better. Every line had a purpose, to refine his character so he could be the leader Rome needed, not the leader his nature tempted him to be. A leader's resilience is not about being immune to pain, but about having the discipline to turn pain into growth. Your own journal, your own meditations, is your leadership manual. It's where you'll remind yourself of your values when the world tries to corrupt you. It's where you'll practice empathy before dealing with difficult people. It's where you'll reaffirm that true leadership begins with service, not power. Your practical action for this stage is to focus on external application. Take your notebook and reflect on a leadership challenge you are currently facing at work, at home, or among friends. Write about the situation, then ask yourself a Socratic question with a Stoic twist. If I were on my deathbed, what would be the most virtuous way to act in this situation? What would I do if I didn't care about others' opinions, but only about my own character? Writing down your answer will give you the clarity and discipline to act as a true leader. Our journey through the life of Marcus Aurelius is only beginning to reveal its real power. Stoic leadership is the key to transforming your personal high performance into a force that can change the world. If this vision of leadership resonates with you, comment "Stoic leadership" below. If the full video made you reflect, like it and subscribe so you won't miss our next deep dive in this expedition. the silent legacy that inspires generations. We began our journey with the image of a solitary emperor, and now we arrive at the point where his mental discipline becomes his greatest legacy. Marcus Aurelius' high performance was not in his military victories or political power, it was in his ability to live a virtuous, purposeful life in the midst of chaos. He teaches us that true leadership is not measured by how many people follow you, but by the quality of character you inspire in them. And his journal, his meditations, is proof that the greatest battle of all is not fought with armies, but within our own minds. The resilience of a leader is not in never breaking, but in rebuilding every single day, in silence. Many modern leaders try to build a legacy with monuments, billion-dollar companies, or an empire of influence. But what remains of an empire when it collapses? The only things that endured from Rome were its philosophy, art, and culture. And from Marcus Aurelius, what remains is not the memory of his victories, but the wisdom in his journal. Stoicism is his true legacy. He left us a leadership manual that is timeless, because the battle for inner peace never goes out of style. Your legacy will not be what you've accumulated, but the person you have become, the leadership you have practiced in your journal, the virtuous choices you've made when no one was watching. Your high performance will be your example, your fortress, your discipline that inspires others to become the emperors of their own minds. The mindset of a Stoic leader is not about being perfect, but about striving for excellence every single day. Stoicism is a call to action, an invitation to constant self-awareness and unshakable resilience. The legacy you will build will not be made of stone, but of character. It will be a dynasty of conscious choices, of silent discipline, a life lived with purpose. And that is true. High performance, the journey that never ends. Your practical action for this final stage is a commitment to yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a future where you are at the peak of your leadership and high performance. What would you say to yourself today? At the very start of this journey, write that message in your journal. Read it every day. Let it be your anchor, your guide, your legacy, calling you to your deepest purpose. Our expedition through Marcus Aurelius' life has given us a new perspective on what leadership truly means. But our journey as archaeologists of success is just beginning. Many more artifacts, philosophies, and stories await us. If this vision of legacy resonates with you, comment "My Legacy" below. And if you don't want to miss the next chapter of our expedition, where we'll explore the code of honor of the samurai, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If the full video brought new leadership insights to your life, share it with someone who needs it too.